Hi, it's me JD and welcome back to my channel. In this tutorial, I'll be sharing some tips, techniques, and hacks for using the Misti Stamping Tool. I'll be using a standard size Misti today. There's a mini Misti and an extra large Misti on the market as well. And when you first get your stamping tool, it comes with a paper pad, a foam pad, and 2 magnets. The Misti tool is great for stamp positioning, layered stamps, and other really fun techniques. But today I'm going to show you some hacks that you might not have heard of before. First, be sure to subscribe and we'll jump right into the first Misti tip. With your Misti tool, it always comes with a small paper pad to put in the middle. It's great, it's gridded, but it tends to be wasteful. Therefore, if you want to save on supplies, you can always laminate 1 or 2 sheets of that gridded pad, and that way it'll be easy to clean, easy to wipe, and you can use it way more than one time. The slick surface of the lamination will have no effect, or should have no effect, on your paper or cardstock. And then after you're done stamping, you can easily wipe it away with a baby wipe or a wet paper towel. The feature that makes the Misti is having a hinged acrylic door to easily restamp if you need to. The thing is, it might not be always easy to grab, especially if you don't have fingernails. So to solve this, you can put a piece of washi tape or painter's tape to create a sort of handle for your Misti door. I learned this from Ilda from I Love Doing All Things Crafty. It's a great tip and it makes it very easy to pick up that door to swing over and stamp on your cardstock. The Misti also comes with handy rulers along the bottom and side and top edge. If you're primarily a card maker like me, or you like making a lot of projects with the same size, you can use washi tape guides to help make sure the placement of your paper is correct. For example, I make a lot of A2 size cards, and I know a lot of my projects are 4 1/4 inch wide. So that's where I'll place my washi tape guideline. This method lets me know I have the right size paper in the right position without having to look at the ruler. Washi tape guidelines are also great if you tend to use a lot of background stamps or larger stamps that extend the width of your project. So for my standard A2 size card panel, I'm going to place washi tape on either side of the panel. I'll also place it along the bottom of the panel. Now this gives me a template of where to place my cardstock anytime I'm using a background stamp or a large stamp. So for example, I've got this large background stamp on my A2 cardstock, and when you generally use a new stamp, it tends to pull your cardstock off if you're not using a magnet. And you generally can't use a magnet when you're using a large background stamp. But with my 3-piece washi tape template, I can rest assured that my cardstock will be in the same position just in case my cardstock comes up, or I have to double stamp, or if I'm mass producing a bunch of panels with the same background. You can also do other techniques besides stamping in your Misti with this next hack. So I use a really cheap oven liner and I cut it down to size. And I use this mat specifically when I want to do any water-based techniques with my Misti tool, such as like ink smooshing, or I want to spray some water on some alcohol markers and do a technique that way. This way, the mat protects my inner Misti surface, so I'm free to do the technique without worrying about making a mess or ruining the Misti. You may have heard of the technique of acrylic block stamping, but now with the Misti, you can cover a much larger surface area with the acrylic door of the Misti Stamping Tool. I prefer to use distress inks as they're water-based and they're easier to clean up. And the same technique as ink smooshing, I just smoosh the ink pad onto the acrylic door, spray it some water, and then I swing the door over for a really organic look to my project. With this technique, your Misti door acts as your giant stamp. If you need to, you can add some more shims on the inner part of your Misti to add some more pressure for stamping. After you're done, be sure to clean the door right away to help prevent any staining. Speaking of staining, I found that one of the best ways to clean up your Misti is to use a magic eraser. If you use your stamping tool as much as I do, then you know it's bound to show some wear and tear. So I like to spray down a magic eraser with some water, plain old water, and then just scrub away any stains. I've used this type of cleaning, using the magic eraser for the last few years now, cleaning it every few months or so, and I've yet to see any long-term damage. And the magic eraser wipes off most, if not all, of the major stains. With the recent innovative products that are compatible with the Misti, I found that an easy way to store them is behind the black foam and the gridded mat of your Misti. For example, for the Concord and 9th Turnabout stamps, you have to have a jig, and I store my jig back there since it's pretty flat and it shouldn't affect my stamping on the Misti at all. And I'll test out another popular template with some real-time stamping here. I had to double stamp because I didn't ink up in one corner. But I really don't see any indentations or mistake made by the template hiding back there. So therefore, you should be glad to know that the Gina K Wreath Builder template works back there as well. So we use the Misti for proper placement of stamps, and I was thinking in my head, what if we could use the Misti for proper placement of die cuts? More specifically, a frame or a window or a shaker frame. You guys have seen me struggle with this a couple of times. No matter how much I hover, no matter how much I pray to the crafty gods, my shaker window always comes out a little crooked once I place it over my shaker well. Well, this time I'm going to lay my background within the Misti. I taped it down with some temporary adhesive. Now I'm just flattening all of these clay shaker bits because they're really dimensional. And then I'm going to place my shaker frame over the background, and I'm going to put some temporary adhesive over the frame and along the window. Now I'm making sure that it's in the right position, and I'll swing the door over, and hopefully the door picks it up, which it does. And now comes the tricky part. So I'm going to remove all of this foam tape backing, and I'm going to swing the Misti door over, and hopefully it'll stay in the spot that I placed it in. And I'm going to press down, and I want the foam tape to pick up the frame, since foam tape is much stronger than the tape runner. And so this worked out perfectly. I was so surprised that it worked. I gotta admit, it probably does take some getting used to, but I might go back and forth with using this technique versus hovering over. In this case, the vellum was really light, so that's why I think it worked so well. Usually I use a heavier weight acetate, so I'll have to try that with acetate down the line to see if this Misti door works with putting shaker frames on. I'm using this special eraser to take off all of that temporary adhesive, and it's like it never even happened. For this next hack, if you do a lot of die cutting, then you know the frustration of misplacing a die, or you can't find this die, or they're all discombobulated all over your craft desk. Well, I found that the back of your Misti Stamping Tool works great as a die platform. You just take the magnet off, preferably like a straight bar magnet, place it on the back side, and it should hold, and you can literally throw dies within the direction of this Misti, and that magnet will catch it and keep it in place. And now I'm just having fun with throwing dies. So no need for a magnetic bowl or plate. You already have one on the back of your Misti. This also makes picking up and putting away your metal dies much easier as well. And it's a solid black surface, so you can see what dies you have out really easily. If you take your Misti Stamping Tool to a crop or a retreat, then you'll want to personalize it. Well, I found a very easy and cute way to personalize it is to use vinyl. You can use craft adhesive vinyl with your digital cutting machine, such as a Cricut or a Silhouette Cameo, and you can also use it with your electronic or manual die cutting machines. For this first example, my initials rather, I'm going to use regular alphabet dies to cut out my name. And vinyl works like a great permanent sticker. So I just peel off the backing and I place it on the acrylic door, and this will not only be permanent to the acrylic door, but it'll also be really clear through the back. And so for the Misti portion, I decided to use my digital cutting machine to cut that out because I wanted it all scripty and perfect, and because I'm extra like that pretty much. You can use transfer tape with either method, the digital cutting machine or the electronic die cutting machine. This will help you get the right placement of your word or name. With vinyl, you can rest assured that there won't be any icky adhesive or residue on the back of where you placed your name. So now no one will mix up their Misti stamping tool with yours. I hope you guys found this video really helpful with finding techniques and tips and tricks with your Misti. Thank you guys so much for watching, and be sure to stick around for the next video.